Another day, another fire that burns in peacemaker Pakistan's own backyard. Kashmir is not part of Pakistan. Asim Munir and Shehbaz Sharif have been told what India has been saying for decades. The only difference is that this time it's the angry protesters in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir who said this to them. Hours after the Joint Awami Action Committee or JAAC accused the Pakistani military of using explosive drones against peaceful demonstrators, Aman Khan of the JAAC said that Kashmir is not part of Pakistan. His words were greeted with a huge round of applause.
कश्मीर पाकिस्तान का हिस्सा नहीं है, कश्मीर पाकिस्तान की रियासत का हिस्सा नहीं है।
He also warned that if Islamabad keeps blocking food supplies, locals may turn to other routes.
ये जो कहते हैं कि राशन जो है वो कश्मीरियों का राशन बंद करेंगे, मैं कहता हूँ हमें तुम्हारे राशन की जरूरत नहीं है, तुम्हें हमारी जरूरत है। थोड़ा ख्याल करो, तुम्हें हमारी जरूरत है। कहीं ऐसा न हो कि बाकी रास्ते खुल जाएं और फिर तुम हमारी मिन्नतें करो, हमारे तरले करो, कहीं ऐसा न हो।
The rawalakot region has witnessed weeks of escalating unrest, deadly confrontations and an intensifying political crisis. What began as a political dispute over representation has evolved into one of the most significant internal challenges faced by Islamabad in the region in recent years. These protests have drawn attention to the sentiment that prevails on the Shehbaz Sharif government. For several weeks now, towns including Rawalakot and Muzaffarabad have witnessed demonstrations led by the Joint Awami Action Committee, which is a grassroots movement that says it is fighting for political rights as well as economic reforms. The movement raises long-standing economic demands. Now, electricity generated from local hydropower, subsidized wheat, greater local control over resources and broader governance reforms fall under the demand. While authorities say many earlier economic demands had been addressed, the dispute over political representation remained unresolved, becoming the flashpoint for the current crisis. So the question that many are asking now within Pakistani circles is that, are the days of the government numbered? Senior Pakistani journalist Arifa Noor, in her column in Dawn newspaper, points out the government's lack of success on the economic front and its inability to gain popularity. I quote her here, "The government has little to offer other than its mantra of stability, and this is frankly of little consolation to people who have experienced back-breaking inflation and a slower than a tortoise economy for the past so many years." Even less needs to be said about the PMLN's lack of popularity. She goes on to state about the civil military leadership that this is more than a hybrid regime now. It is one in which the civilian side takes no risks and asserts no power. There is only one side writing on the page, the other is simply following the moving finger. Not just journalists, Pakistan's former Prime Minister Shahid Khaqan Abbasi also called the administration out. He said that it's unfortunate that the oppressed people of Kashmir were fired upon simply for demanding basic rights, adding that there is no rule of law in the country. Essentially, Pakistanis are calling out Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif for acting less like a leader and more as a yes man to Field Marshal Asim Munir, and the proof is all there. From Asim Munir leading the meeting with President Trump at the White House to talking to Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi directly, the Field Marshal seems to hold the reins in Pakistan instead of the civilian Prime Minister. As far as economy is concerned, Pakistan's GDP growth is projected to be 3.6% by the IMF, much below India's and a lot of other countries, while its unemployment rate is at 6.9%. Even as Pakistanis face deep economic challenges, the violent instability in Rawalakot exposes the administration's fault lines. Where the government chooses to crack down on protesters instead of listening to them, the Pakistani administration says security personnel came under armed attack. Officials allege that some protesters opened fire, attacked government installations, damaged public property and surrounded military facilities. JAC supporters, however, accuse security forces of using disproportionate force against demonstrators and mourners. The International Human Rights Foundation documented a recurring trend of deadly crackdowns on JAC protests, including violence in May 2024 and October 2025 that claimed multiple lives. The rights body called on the Pakistani authorities to immediately halt the use of deadly force against peaceful protesters, lift the internet shutdown, release all individuals who are arbitrarily detained, and revoke the ban on JAC. It also urged an independent and impartial investigation into all civilian deaths with full access for international observers and accountability for those responsible for the unlawful use of force. That clearly has not happened yet. Extended shutdowns have disrupted transport, businesses and banking. Road closures and internet restrictions have affected livelihoods. Taxi drivers, shopkeepers and daily wage earners have reported severe economic hardship as repeated strikes and security operations continue.